He chose his ex over me, but instead of begging for him back, I walked away without a word. Then, I married his best friend, and watched as everything he'd built crumbled to dust. I had always thought Ethan and I were perfect for each other. We had been together for 5 years, and everyone around us always talked about how lucky we were. Ethan was everything I could ever want in a partner, loving, loyal, and the kind of man who seemed to put our relationship first. We had the kind of bond that others envied, and I always felt proud of what we had built together. But, looking back now, there were cracks I had refused to see. While Ethan was constantly telling me how much he loved me, there was one thing I couldn't ignore. He was still so emotionally tethered to his ex, Sarah. Despite their breakup years ago, Sarah was always there in the background, and I began to feel like a second choice. I brushed it off at first, thinking it was just me being paranoid. But deep down, I knew it wasn't normal. The casual mentions of her name, the old photos that never seemed to disappear from his phone, the times he'd disappear for hours, saying he was just catching up with her, it all began to add up. And then came the day that changed everything. I found out that for months, Ethan had been meeting Sarah in secret, something he'd kept hidden from me. When I confronted him, he admitted that he still had feelings for her. He said I was just a second choice, and that the love he had for me wasn't enough. And just like that, everything we had built together fell apart. Ethan chose Sarah over me, and I realized that the man I had loved for so long had already chosen someone else. After Ethan's heartless decision, Eliza is crushed. Her emotions are a chaotic whirlwind, disbelief, hurt, and a deep sense of anger. For the first few days, she can't bring herself to accept what's happened. She replays every moment of their relationship, searching for answers, wondering if she missed something. But the truth is undeniable. Ethan, the man she thought she would spend her life with, has chosen Sarah over her. The pain is overwhelming, and she's left to face the reality that she's no longer a priority in his life. There's a bitter sting in the fact that she was nothing more than a backup, something to fall back on when things with Sarah didn't work out. It feels like a punch to the gut, but deep down, Eliza knows she can't continue living in the shadows of someone else's past. But as the days go by, Eliza begins to see the relationship with Ethan for what it truly was, emotionally draining. She begins to understand that no matter how much love she gave, it was never going to be enough for Ethan to fully commit to her. She deserves more than just scraps of affection when it's convenient for him. It's a painful truth, but one that sets her free. She finally realizes she's worth more than what Ethan was willing to offer. With their relationship officially over, Eliza pulls away from Ethan's circle of friends. The people who once seemed so familiar and comforting now feel like strangers. She needs distance, time to heal, and to figure out who she is without Ethan. She spends more time on herself, reigniting hobbies and interests that had long been pushed aside. She takes on new challenges at work, setting goals that have nothing to do with him. She focuses on rebuilding the life she had neglected while trying to hold on to a relationship that wasn't truly hers to keep. Amidst all of this, Eliza finds an unexpected source of support in Mark, Ethan's best friend. Mark has always been there for her, even when she was with Ethan. He was the one who offered her advice, made her laugh when things got hard, and had always been a steady presence in her life. Now, as Eliza leans on him more than ever, she begins to notice the depth of his care. Mark is kind, thoughtful, and he's always there when she needs him, no questions asked. Slowly, the bond between them begins to grow, and there's an undeniable chemistry in the air. They share long conversations late into the night, sometimes about nothing in particular, but those moments feel more genuine than any conversation Eliza had with Ethan in the last few months of their relationship. As the days pass, Eliza starts to recognize something she'd never noticed before. Mark has always had feelings for her. And with that realization, she begins to feel the same way. There's no pressure, no rush. It's a quiet understanding between them, a growing connection that feels natural and easy. Mark's support is no longer just that of a friend. Eliza finds herself looking at him differently, seeing him not only as the one who has always been there for her but as someone who could be more. Ethan, still wrapped up in his mess with Sarah, remains oblivious to what's happening right under his nose. His best friend and the woman he let go of are quietly finding solace in each other. As Eliza and Mark's bond grows stronger, their connection doesn't go unnoticed. Ethan, who has been keeping an eye on the situation, finally realizes what's happening between them. The sight of Eliza laughing, feeling carefree, and genuinely happy with Mark stirs something dark within him. The jealousy and frustration he's been trying to suppress bubble to the surface, and with each passing day, the regret gnaws at him. He made the mistake of choosing Sarah over Eliza, thinking that things would work out in his favor, but watching Eliza move on with Mark is a painful reminder that he lost the best thing he ever had. The guilt is unbearable, and soon it turns into anger. How dare Eliza move on so quickly? How could she be so happy with someone else? And as those feelings of anger intensify, Ethan finally reaches his breaking point. He decides he can no longer stand idly by and watch Eliza build a new life without him. He has to confront her, he has to take control and fight for what he lost. Ethan storms into the scene with an intensity that's hard to ignore. The moment Eliza sees him, she knows what's coming. His eyes are full of rage, but also a deep, desperate sorrow. Ethan demands that she choose him again, insisting that he made a mistake, that he still loves her, and that he's ready to fix everything. But Eliza, who has changed so much over the past few months, no longer reacts the way she once would have. She doesn't crumble under his gaze or his words. She doesn't feel that familiar pang of guilt or longing to make things work. Instead, Eliza stands her ground, and in that moment, she feels stronger than she's ever been. She admits to herself what she's never truly allowed herself to see, that she was never as valued in their relationship as she should have been. The love she gave was always conditional, always second to his unresolved feelings for Sarah. Ethan's decision to choose her only when it was convenient for him made her realize that she had been nothing more than a placeholder in his life. With her newfound clarity, Eliza looks Ethan squarely in the eyes and tells him the truth: he's too late. She's already moved on. There's no place for him in her life anymore, not as a lover, not as a friend, nothing. The hurt that once defined their relationship has been replaced by a quiet confidence. She has learned to live for herself, and no one, especially not Ethan, will take that away from her. Mark, who has been silently standing by her side throughout this emotional storm, offers a steadying presence. With him there, Eliza feels empowered in a way she never did when she was with Ethan. Mark's support has helped her heal, but now, with everything finally out in the open, Eliza understands her own strength. She's no longer waiting for Ethan to choose her. She's no longer holding on to a past that was filled with doubt and emotional neglect. The emotional turmoil Ethan caused her has taught her that happiness is something she can create for herself, not something she has to beg someone else for. Ethan's inability to fully commit to her and his selfish choices have cost him everything. As Eliza walks away from him, she knows this is the end, not just of their relationship but of the part of her life that was defined by him. She's taken control, and it feels liberating. Ethan's world may crumble as a result, but Eliza realizes that's no longer her problem. This is her moment, her time to embrace the future and everything it has to offer. The realization is powerful. Eliza knows her worth, and she's no longer afraid to move on, no matter the consequences. Ethan's emotional manipulation no longer has any hold over her. As the weeks pass, Eliza and Mark begin to build something real. Their relationship deepens beyond friendship, evolving into something solid and meaningful. The love and support. Mark offers Eliza make her feel like she's finally been seen for who she truly is, someone worthy of love and respect, not a backup option or someone to be put second to an ex. Mark listens when she talks, laughs with her when she needs to, and makes her feel truly valued. For the first time in a long time, Eliza feels like she's in a relationship where she doesn't have to fight for someone's attention, where she can just exist as herself and still be loved. It's a feeling she had almost forgotten, and with each passing day, their bond grows stronger. They begin making plans for their future, the kind of future Eliza had once dreamed of with Ethan, but this time with someone who truly cherishes her. Meanwhile, Ethan is falling apart. He's unable to cope with the reality that he's lost Eliza for good. The regret eats at him, gnawing away at his every thought. His decision to choose Sarah over Eliza, thinking it would be the easier choice, is slowly destroying him. As he watches Eliza move forward, he's consumed by the pain of seeing her happy with someone else, someone he once considered his best friend. The reality of his mistake hits him like a wave, but it's too late. His self-destructive behavior only makes things worse. He drinks more, avoids his friends, and spirals deeper into despair. Sarah, who had been trying to comfort him through his emotional breakdown, finally realizes that Ethan's problems with Eliza have nothing to do with her, and she pulls away. Ethan's misery deepens, and he's left alone to face the consequences of his actions. The woman he chose over Eliza has now distanced herself from him, leaving him with nothing but the emptiness of his regret. Ethan, in his isolation, begins to see the enormity of the mistake he made in letting Eliza go. He watches from a distance as she moves on with Mark, seeing her laugh, seeing her embrace a future she had once dreamed of with him. The sting of seeing Eliza so happy with someone else hits him harder than he could ever have imagined. The guilt and self-loathing eat at him, but there's nothing he can do to undo what's been done. He wants to apologize, to beg for forgiveness, but he knows it would be pointless. He chose Sarah, and now he must live with the consequences of losing Eliza forever. He sees their love blooming from afar and understands that he can't be part of that anymore. He can only watch as the woman he once loved moves on, leaving him in the dust of his own failure. For Eliza, Mark's unwavering support is everything. He's been a constant in her life, and as their relationship grows, so does the depth of their bond. Mark listens to her, comforts her when the memories of Ethan resurface, and stands by her side in a way that Ethan never did. Together, they face the challenges that come with a new relationship, navigating their feelings, building trust, and overcoming the shadow of Eliza's past. But it's not always easy. Mark and Ethan share a history, and though they are now on opposite sides, Mark feels the weight of their friendship. He tries his best to respect the space Ethan needs while also being there for Eliza, but it's complicated. The dynamic between the three of them will never be the same, and Mark knows that. Still, he's committed to supporting Eliza through it all, determined to show her that the love she deserves has been here all along. In Mark's arms, Eliza feels safe and loved, a stark contrast to the emotional turbulence she once faced with Ethan. The story draws to a close with Eliza standing tall, stronger than she's ever been. No longer haunted by the echoes of her past with Ethan, she has found a sense of peace that she never thought possible. She has built a life for herself that is rich with purpose, where she's loved, appreciated, and most importantly, valued for who she truly is. The void that was once filled with feelings of betrayal and heartbreak is now filled with clarity and confidence. Eliza no longer feels the need to seek Ethan's approval, nor does she feel regret for her decision to move on. The pain of the past has faded into distant memory, and in its place is a newfound strength that has empowered her to embrace her future fully. She has learned that her worth was never tied to Ethan, but rather to her own self-respect and the love she's found in herself and others. The woman who once felt discarded has now become someone who knows she deserves only the best, and she is determined to never settle for anything less. Meanwhile, Ethan is left to grapple with the harsh reality of his actions. The self-doubt, the shame, and the overwhelming regret consume him. He's alone, forced to reflect on how he had taken Eliza for granted, how he thought he could play with her heart and then just pick up the pieces when it suited him. His indecision, his inability to see what he had until it was gone, has left him broken. Ethan's emotional breakdown is a direct consequence of the choices he made, and they are consequences he now has to live with. Watching Eliza with Mark is a constant reminder of how he failed her. He sees the life she's building without him, a life that he once thought was his to control. And as the realization sinks in, so does the deep sense of loss. He knows he can never undo the damage he caused, and he's left with nothing but his own regret, knowing that his decision has cost him the woman he once loved more than anything. As for Eliza and Mark, they move forward together, their bond now solidified by the trials they've faced separately and together. Their relationship isn't perfect, but it's real. It's built on a foundation of mutual respect, understanding, and a love that's been forged in the fires of their pasts. They face the future hand in hand, knowing that the road ahead will have its challenges, but they're ready to tackle them as a team. Mark continues to be the rock that Eliza needs, and she, in turn, brings strength and confidence into their shared life. They've grown as individuals and as a couple, learning the importance of communication, patience, and loyalty. For Eliza, this relationship isn't about healing wounds from the past, it's about embracing a love that uplifts and supports her, a love that's here and now, and that's built on a foundation of equality and respect. Eliza has healed, but more than that, she's become someone entirely new. The lessons she's learned about her worth, independence, and the importance of prioritizing herself above all else have shaped her into the woman she is today. And as she looks forward to the future, she no longer fears the unknown. She knows she is capable of facing anything that comes her way because she has learned to trust herself above all else. Mark is by her side, yes, but it's Eliza's strength and resilience that define her. The past is behind her, and the future is filled with endless possibilities.